Here on Treaty 7 territory, nestled in the Rocky Mountains with the mighty Bow River at an altitude of 1,309 meters. Born from coal dust in 1884 and ever-changing, this is Canmore, and we are Canmorites, and this is the Canmorite podcast. Let's go. Hello, it's me, Jeff Ma, and here we are on the Canmorite episode 2. So, as I was alluding to on the previous episode, we are in the middle of a federal election, and I was hoping to get interviews with the various candidates in our new riding, the Yellowhead. And so I'm really pleased to have our federal NDP candidate, Avni Soma, in the house here. We're going to be asking some questions. So, Avni, it's so great to have you here.
Thanks, Jeff.
Awesome. And so, Avni, just a couple of basic questions. What motivated you to run for the election?
That is a very good question, Jeff. I'll start with the short-term story. So I've been campaigning now for over 7 months. 7 months? Yeah, over 7 months. The opportunity arose, and I decided to go for it because when I had someone actually look at the numbers with our new boundary riding changes, the NDP has always come in second with it in this combined riding. So you can say like it changed to basically two valleys that they put together. And there is a serious chance for the NDP to make history by being the first federal rural riding in Alberta to go orange.
Right, okay.
So that is why, in a short-term way, I decided to run. Now, what drew me to even considering federal politics? Do I have time to tell you my story?
Yeah, why not a little bit of story? Because I think sometimes, that's the purpose of the podcast, so people get a bit of a longer form understanding of the candidates. So if you got a bit of a personal creation story to what got you to this point, running for the campaign, I would love to hear that. I'm sure the people at home would too.
Okay. So I've lived in Canmore for 15 years, and I grew up in Calgary. I'm in my 50s, and I've always been passionate about Alberta. This land, this culture, the open skies. We grew up here, and it means a lot to me. I never left. So I'm a mother, a scientist, and an entrepreneur. Okay. When I moved to Canmore, I co-founded a company called Farmbox.
Okay, I remember Farmbox. Yeah, tell people more.
Yeah, we grew that business from 0 to 1.2 million in sales. And that company was built on relationships. Right. Relationships with farmers in Alberta and BC. Okay. Now, I'm going to say that we were ahead of the curve. Right. Like I have been on many things in my life. Ahead of the curve. Because at this moment in time, we have the U.S. chaos happening, and all of a sudden, everyone wants to shop local and buy Canadian. We built Farmbox on that 15 years ago. Right, okay. So we knew that long-term resilience and sustainability to any country and any economy and any society is creating and supporting small-scale, local, diverse businesses. Okay. So my skill happened to be in business, so that is what I chose to do. And I'm passionate about food because food encompasses all of the parts of us, of humanness. Culture. Right. We eat and we gather and we debate about politics and all kinds of things around the dinner table. Where you buy your food from affects our economy, as we are seeing now. The type of agriculture you choose helps or degrades from the environment, or let's just say it at least affects the environment. Right. So you have all the things that we're talking about today as humans involved in food. So 15 years ago, more than 15 years ago, because I had a chai company prior to that, and it was for the same reasons. So that is why one of my origin stories in politics, I guess. So we grew that business, like I said, from 0 to 1.2 million in sales. Then we sold the business. January 1st, 2017, we sold it to a company called The Organic Box. And I was lucky enough to stay on with them.
Right.
So I stayed on with them because it was important to me to keep those relationships with the farmers, because that's what Farmbox was built on. It was relationships with farmers.
Right.
And I stayed on with them through COVID, which was a crazy
Oh my
time.
God, COVID time.
COVID was a crazy time. So we're talking about shocks in our system, like
Yeah.
I feel like Trump is shocking the world right now. The pandemic was also a shock in the world. We're having all these increased frequency of climate events, shocks in our world. And every shock makes us question things and reassess our systems and things like that. So that was COVID. So for me personally at that time, it was so fascinating to see, because we were a home delivery business.
Right.
And everyone all of a sudden wanted their food delivered to their door.
Yeah, you were ahead of the curve there.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had all the infrastructure. And then what happened is the demand went through the roof.
Yeah.
And because we have relationships with small farmers, we were never short. Our
Okay.
shelves were never empty. All I had to do was call Rosemary, a potato farmer who's east of Calgary, and I said, Rosemary, we need like 3,000 tons of potatoes because like numbers are going through the roof. And she said, no problem.
Right.
And it wasn't at a higher cost.
Okay, because the relationship was there.
Relationship and a shorter supply chain.
Okay.
Local economy. Yeah.
Amazing. So you mentioned earlier before, and I think one of the interesting things that allows you to stand out from the other candidates is that you've actually been campaigning for this seat for quite some time. And so have you got like a campaign war story? Because, I get it. This has been a conservative riding for ever. And to have like an NDP person, get going out earlier, doing the work. Maybe there's something you could share with the folks at home. Like, what's it like to campaign?
Yeah, that has been actually a personal growth experience as well.
You are a brave soul.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I will say, first of all, I started 7 months ago,
Yeah.
and I raised all my own money
Yeah.
for this campaign. So the federal NDP party doesn't give you any money. You have to raise it all.
Okay.
And by December 31st, we were one of the highest funded campaigns out of all the national NDP parties.
Wow. Okay. Right on.
And I think I continued to raise, we're fine. Like I had enough to buy lots of signs.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a
And-
great job with the signs on the Trans-Canada Highway between here and Calgary. So clearly you guys are being effective when it comes to fundraising. But keep telling me more about the war stories.
And so and then I will say before I tell you stories that I'm in it for the long run. So whatever happens in this election,
Yeah.
in 4 years, you are going to see my signs again.
Okay. Right
Yeah.
on.
So politics is not a short-term game
Right.
for me.
Okay. Excellent.
And that is a point that I want to make clear that differentiates me from the other candidates, is that I wasn't dropped in, I wasn't asked. This is coming from my heart
Right.
and my soul.
Right.
And because I'm always ahead of the curve.
All right. Amazing. So back to like
So
some of
war
the
stories.
Yeah.
Okay, which
Love
one
to-
do you want to hear?
Just give us one great one that kind of gives people at home, a bit of a sense of, wow, this is the humanity it takes to
Okay.
put yourself out there and run for any sort of elected official position.
So I'm going to give you our human story.
Okay.
The one I said yesterday
Okay.
in Rocky Mountain House. Because this is a time of crisis. I was saying there's these shocks that we're having, and I feel like these shocks are increasing in frequency. And at these times, we should not be dividing as humans.
Okay.
We should be looking at what is our shared humanity. And that idea or that concept was visceral to me yesterday. Yesterday, we were driving, so my husband Dan has been coming with me this last week on all these forums. We were driving from Edson to Rocky Mountain House south on the 22. There was a car that was coming towards us in the ditch, and then we saw it roll two or
Oh.
three times. And there was debris flying, and it was a shock. We stopped the car. We were first on the scene. We stopped 2 semi trucks. Dan went to the person.
Husband, yeah.
He went to the person in the car. I called 911. There was 4 of us at the scene. Dan and one of the truckers were managing the gentleman's the huge gash that was in his head.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
spewing blood out. Myself and the other trucker, like in that moment, 4 of us were able to organize around our shared humanity of saving this human that just had this accident. It didn't matter what political party we voted for. It didn't matter who the leader of the political party was or what our ideology was.
Yeah.
But we had that shared humanity in that moment, and we knew exactly what needed to happen. There was no egos involved. No one was saying, "Oh, I know what to do. I know what to do." You know, this is what I think politics is.
Wow.
And so, to me, that is what politics should be, and that should be what unites us as Canadians.
So
that shared humanity.
Yeah, that humanity and that clarity of purpose in that moment. I'm sure some of the listeners at home are probably curious. In the end, was that guy okay?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I mean, as far as we know, like we asked the ambulance when they came, and they said, yeah, I think he'll be okay.
Wow. Well, that gentleman's pretty darn lucky that you and Dan were right there.
Well,
in the moment.
and then from our perspective, which I didn't even think of in the moment, but Dan said, you know, if we were 5 seconds faster, we would have been in a head-on.
100%.
Yeah.
I really like how you're like leaning into the idea of humanness and the compassion side. What, in your mind, with respect to our riding, the Yellowhead riding, are the 2 top issues?
That is a loaded question because
Sure.
our riding is so diverse, right?
Okay.
It is, one, it's large
Yes.
and very diverse in the ideology, in how the people live and how they make their money, how they make a living, all these things. And the one unifying issue is healthcare.
Okay. Healthcare.
So Hinton, Rocky Mountain House, they have times where they have to close their emergency department because they don't have enough primary care physicians.
Right.
Can you imagine what it's like to not have that support? So this is what we hear. So I'm going to tell you the story of Chris.
Sure.
Chris has voted Conservative his whole life.
Okay.
3 weeks ago, I met Chris in Hinton. He is on dialysis. He's been on dialysis for a few years. So he's in and out of the dialysis every 2 or 3 days. He has watched the gutting of our healthcare system here in Alberta.
Right.
And that is not the healthcare system he wants to leave for his kids.
Right.
So 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
like prior to me meeting him,
Yeah.
Chris, with what little energy he had, he was out putting NDP signs on the highway. He was out putting my signs on the highway because healthcare is that important to him.
Okay.
Yeah, so healthcare would be the issue. And then, people say, oh, it's a provincial issue and this kind of thing. But the federal government with the Canada Health Act has a responsibility to enforce it. So every Canadian should have access to emergency care services and primary care services. And the federal government has a responsibility to enforce this. So the federal government has used that lever. In 2020, they enforced it in BC.
Right.
I can't remember the year exactly, but they also enforced it in Quebec,
Okay.
as well as in New Brunswick.
Okay.
So I feel that is a clear role for the federal government to prevent the for-profiting of our healthcare system in our provinces. And then the reason why that's important is we have so much data to show, because we have so many examples throughout the world with 2-tiered systems
100%.
and what happens in the long run.
Right.
The private system has the choice to take the easy, we'll call it easy cases.
Yeah, the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, and they leave the more complicated, particularly we're seeing in Alberta with the surgical cases, the complicated cases have to go to the public system.
Right.
That's not
Yeah, it's cherry picking for service, right?
Yeah.
Because what is lucrative, what is more
Yeah.
profitable, we'll go the easy route.
Yeah.
And we'll let the public folks take on the risk of the more challenging
Yeah.
tasks. So that's one of the issues. What's the second issue in your mind that you feel is really, really important for our riding?
For our riding, this is where I feel it's a little bit unfortunate
Okay.
because we're looking. A lot of people are just seeing the short-term shock of the U.S. The issues coming out of the U.S. So tariffs and things like that. So we're hearing a lot of fear around tariffs.
For sure. It's
And-
definitely the issue of the moment right now.
Yes, it's the issue of the moment, and for me,
Yeah.
just because I'm always ahead of the curve, and my personality is such that I have the ability to see long term. We need to be thinking about, yes, the tariffs are going to hurt us, 100%. So what are our short term solutions for that, and what are our long term solutions for that? So for me, I like to think of what are our long term solutions for that. Ensuring that our public systems are supported and that our most vulnerable are supported. So that's one thing. And then generating to kind of deal with all these tariffs, because the NDP has been saying that we would take retaliatory tariffs, which Canada is, and then what do we do with that money?
Right.
It should be going to the workers who are losing jobs and to support our resource workers and our small businesses to generate our economy. So it's like creating that local economy again.
Okay.
And another way to do that is also housing.
Right.
Housing builds, and what is a governance around those housing builds? So that's a longer discussion, but however the government decides, and I would love to be at the table when having these discussions about the best way how to bring in affordable housing for all Canadians.
Okay, well, I know we've talked a bit about some of the more rural regions of Yellowhead. I do know here in the Bow Valley, especially if we say a town Canmore council perspective, housing is a critical, massive piece. And so the more we can energize and create housing, that sounds fantastic. So another question for you, Avni. What is an experience that you've had in this past year that makes you the best candidate for the Yellowhead riding?
In the past year?
Sure, in the past year.
Past year. So I would say my experience. So after, I didn't finish my story.
Oh, yeah.
So after COVID, and
Right.
I decided that I needed to do something different. So I left Organic Box.
Oh, we're coming back to your origin story.
Yes.
Right, I understand. Okay, right.
And I left Organic Box, and I was chosen as the only Alberta representative to be on the Canadian Food Policy Advisory Council.
Oh, wow. What did they do?
So we were an advisory council that advised the Minister of Agriculture on food policy
Okay,
for Canada.
right.
So that experience showed me how important policy at a federal level is and how it affects our everyday lives.
Okay,
So one thing for me that was important is school food. And as from the council perspective, we actually made it a priority to push the federal government to have a national school food policy and commit to funding to school food programming, which we got in 2024.
wow.
And at the same time, I was on a steering committee member of an advisory or a advocacy group called the Coalition of Healthy School Food, which we helped shape that policy.
Okay,
Like, should school food be universal? Like all these details. Where are you sourcing the food from? Things like that. So I have that experience to understand how that policy system works. And then I am a parent with 2 kids at a school here in town. We chose the Francophone school because language is important to us. And I started a hot lunch volunteer run program
Amazing.
at our kids' school.
yeah.
We were actually on Radio Canada for our program.
Oh,
Yeah, you can hear me talking in French.
okay.
And we, so the basis of the program is my version of ethical sourcing, which
Yeah.
includes shopping local.
Yes.
And so includes all the environmental pieces and everything. And as a model to show how we can do things differently. So I would say in the last year, yeah, that would be it, because I've seen it from this level,
Yeah,
high up
high
level,
yeah.
and then I've lived it and created it. So we work with an Indigenous chef in town, and we bring in all the cultural foods. Like we have French Canadian, we have Indigenous, we have Indian, we have Asian, like all the, and so using that program also to create dialogue around food literacy and how food connects us. And yeah, so it comes from all the angles.
That is an amazing story. And man, those kids are lucky at that school.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So coming into our final question here, is there any other skill set or attributes that you have that you feel people should know about that make you just an incredible representative for the Yellowhead? Yeah. I know we touched on a lot of them,
Yeah.
such as the humanness, the ability to get policy through, but if there's anything else that we haven't touched on, please share.
I would say my ability to listen.
Okay.
That you realize as I've been traveling this vast riding for months and months and months. And some people just want to be heard. That's it. They just want to be heard. As
Okay.
extreme as their views may be in someone's opinion, when it comes down to it, they just want to be heard. And I feel like I have that ability. So I've always felt that human governance is kind of a grassroots thing.
Yes.
Less from, you know, we're at this moment in time in humanity, we're kind of programmed to think that we need a leader at the top that's going to tell us and is going to save us and this kind of thing. I truly feel that it comes from us. I have lived that my whole life. I feel it, and I feel like I have the skills to listen to all these very diverse views and bring them together into like some coherent, majority balanced approach.
Avni, amazing. Thank you so much for all those nuanced and really thought-provoking answers to those various questions. So people are listening to the podcast. If they need to reach you, perhaps have a conversation, what's the best way they can get a hold of you on the campaign trail?
Thanks for that question, Jeff.
Yeah.
You can follow me on all the various socials. It's my name, Avni Soma, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. The other one is email.
Yep.
avni.soma@ndp.ca. So yeah, you can reach out in various ways.
And so, Avni, that's amazing. The team sounds like they're strong. You've got people behind you. You're on all the socials. So a friend of mine, Wade Graham, Councillor Graham, he's able to arrange a forum for the Canmore region. I know there have been a lot of forums happening throughout this very short campaign. I know you guys have been on the road everywhere. But so for folks in Canmore, in the Bow Valley region, we do have a forum on this coming Good Friday, April 18th, and it's at CanGolf. And it's at 2 p.m. And the moderator is our mayor, Sean Krausert, and he'll be coming from a nonpartisan view, obviously, just to run the best forum possible. So, Avni, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, and best of luck to you on the campaign trail.
Thanks.